A wife says, I have nothing to wear. What she means is she has nothing new. Her husband says, I have nothing to wear. What he means is he has nothing clean. I love that. It's an innocent illustration, but isn't it fascinating that we say the very same thing, but we mean something different? We say the very same thing, but we mean something different. You know, male and female communication is fascinating. We had a couple come to our Love and Respect conference, and as they were leaving, she was in the car with her husband, and she was saying, you know, how do you feel about me in this relationship? And he said, well, you're very critical. Well, she was about to rip into him verbally, but then she remembered the conference, you know, and also I wrote a book called Before You Hit Sin, so think before you think before you speak. And she said, well, what did you mean by that? He said, well, I've been thinking a lot about you lately, and if you died, I don't know how I would survive. You're very critical to my survival. May I suggest to you it's important that we understand what our spouse means by what they say. I liken to the fact that a woman looks at the world through pink sunglasses, pink hearing aids, pink megaphone, and she speaks that way. She has that particular perspective. He has a blue perspective, blue sunglasses, blue hearing aids, blue megaphone. And I like that word picture, although there are some who don't like the pink and blue. But when you put pink and blue together, it's purple, the color of royalty, the color of God. And Jesus asked the question in Matthew 19:4, have you not read who made them from the beginning, made them male and female? Didn't make them human per se. We are both human, but there's a distinction, XXXY chromosome. There's an egg and sperm. These come together that create. You are here as a result of that difference. And we know that biologically. The question is, does that expand beyond that? But not debating that issue as much as when you put pink and blue together, it's the color of royalty, the color of God. Together, husband and wife reflect His image. It's a beautiful thing. It's the way He's designed it. And it's powerful. And a person who is single, devoted fully to Christ, gets what we call the gift of celibacy, or a eunuch for the kingdom. And it's what we call a compensatory gift. It allows them to express the image of God as a single person. There's an added grace that they receive. It's beautiful. So that they too can reflect the image of God. It's a special extra gift. Tension arises because we're equal, but we're not the same. And this is one of the foolish conclusions some of us have drawn, that because we're equal, therefore we must be the same. And because I feel this way, and my feelings are the voice of God, and my spouse differs with me, then my spouse is abnormal. But that's a huge mistake. Well, I came across a pink and blue verse. I had the privilege of studying the Bible 30 hours a week for nearly 20 years as the pastor of Trinity Church in East Lansing, Michigan, College Town, Michigan State University's there, and had a great time studying the Scripture. I also have my PhD in family studies, and I saw some things in Scripture, and I saw some things in the social science that just really, whoa, this was right around 1998, 1999, and I saw some things that just really I hadn't seen before that were very helpful. But one of the things I saw was in Ephesians 5. In fact, Ephesians 5 is considered the greatest treatise in the New Testament on marriage. And verse 33 is the summary statement. It is as though this is God's last word to the church on marriage. Not chronologically, but most would say in terms of progressive revelation, this is God's final word. Well, what is it that Ephesians 5:33 says? Well, let's take a look at it up here. Each one of you also must love his wife as he loves himself, and the wife must respect her husband. Now, when I meditated on that, there was no debate about a husband loving his wife. Happy wife, happy life. I mean, we have been pumped in marriage conferences. Men, you know, just do your thing, love your wife and everything. And so a lot of men are just feeling beat up, feel ashamed. You know, you can only exhort men so long, and they'll just kind of shut down on you. And we've concluded that because men don't want to go to marriage conferences, that they're indifferent to marriage. When I wrote Love and Respect, the editors and the publisher said, we want you to write this marriage book to women. And I said, why? Because I knew where this question was going. But I said, why? Well, because women are the ones that buy the marriage books. And I said, did it ever occur to you it's because you keep telling people like me who write to write the books to women? Let me write this in a fair and balanced way. Where in the Scripture does it teach that men are indifferent to marriage? In Malachi, he breaks the covenant. In Proverbs 3, she does. I went through every verse dealing with marriage, not just principles that could apply. 1 Corinthians 13, it's wonderful, it could apply, but it's not about marriage. I looked at every passage dealing with marriage, and I realized there's no indication that he's 99% of the reason for the breakup of the relationship. In fact, right now, did you know it's called the walk-away woman? Women are leaving marriage 3-to-1 more than men are. Your son will not leave the marriage. Your daughter-in-law will. But in terms of sensitivity and sentimentality, in terms of nurture and care and love, you women are off the charts. There's no question about that. You are just incredibly wonderful. All the research on caregivers, on love, on giving, and we'll make comment about that in just a moment. You're just incredible. And we'll explain, though, why there's a huge misunderstanding. I don't believe, though, here's the point, that he's indifferent to marriage. But he is not speaking the same mother tongue that you speak. He has a different mother tongue. It's what we call respect talk, or the whole idea of honor and what we are. But even that's been labeled as narcissistic. And this has been a huge issue. The love side has been a huge area of study for me, but also the respect side. Pat Riley, for instance, had me come speak to the Miami Heat. Pat and I spent 4 hours talking about issues of honor, how men are motivated by honor. And when men are treated justly and honored, they'll serve. When men feel that you're treating them unfairly and in a dishonoring way, you'll lose their heart every time. And so one of the keys is how do you motivate a man to be loving? By appealing to a sense of honor. Just as you appeal to a woman to put on respect, that we'll talk about in a moment, by appealing to her instinct to love. If you talk about meeting his need to feel respected for who he is apart from his performance, that you have unconditional positive regard toward the spirit of your husband, not toward his behavior. Men don't respect bad behavior in our own world, but we respectfully confront bad behavior. There's a difference. You don't motivate someone to change and become loving on the heels of contempt. No husband feels fond feelings of love and affection in his heart toward a wife he thinks despises who he is as a human being. He's not going to open up. You're not going to connect with him. He'll close off every time. As I meditated on this verse, there was no question that the husband was commanded to agape love. There are 3 Greek words, agape, phileo, and eros. And only the husband in the domestic marital portions of Scripture is commanded to agape love his wife. No wife is commanded to agape love her husband. Now, the Titus 2 passage, in the Greek, the older women are to encourage the younger women to love their husbands, love their children. It's not agape, it's phileo. You're to phileo your husband, not fillet. And phileo your children. You say to the children, does your mommy love you? Oh, yeah, loves us a lot. Does she like you? No, we've been bad. Hey, Harry, does your wife love you? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Does she like you? No, not today. And I remember saying to the Lord, why have you not commanded the wife to agape love? In this inaudible voice, I don't hear voices. I put it within the nature of women to nurture. Women love to love at the level of intimacy. You have to wound a woman at the level of intimacy to get her to stop loving. And I'm not going to command her to do what I created her to do because I'm not into redundancy. How many times have you said, I love you today already, ladies? It's within your nature. And this would be a bad place as a world if we didn't have you. Your virtue of love is just off the charts. It's God's gift to humanity. In fact, there are those who are telling children, if you get lost in the amusement park, look for mommy has 3 children hanging on her. She's sweating hot. She's got her purse. And go tell her you're lost. You don't know where your mom and dad is. It's the only safe haven in our culture right now. It's the only island of virtue. It's a precious reality. But as I thought about this, I realized, well, no one's really debating the love side. Yeah, love your wife. But then I came across this respect husband, and she's not commanded to agape love her husband. In fact, Peter hits the same thing. In 1 Peter 3, you win a disobedient husband through your respectful behavior. But as I got in on this, I realized there's some controversy. Women say, well, Emerson, I don't feel any respect for him. It'd be hypocritical for me to show respect if I don't feel it, and I know you don't want to be a hypocrite. And everybody says that respect must be earned. He hasn't earned it, doesn't deserve it. He's not as loving to me. I'm not going to give it to him until he's more loving. And the dictionary says you show respect to your superiors. He's not superior to me. I'm not inferior to him. I'm not going to be treated like a doormat. I'm certainly not going to walk on eggshells. Hey, you know what? I really think the profile on him on narcissism is correct, and you're asking me to feed his ego and narcissism, and I'm simply not going to do that. I'm not going to give him a license to do whatever he wants to do. Come in the pom-poms, just worship the guy. I'm not going to do that. I certainly am not going to be following what I think is your real agenda here, and that's to return to male patriarchy. That's really what you're all about, male patriarchy, and I certainly am not going to subject myself to emotional abuse. But other than these things, I am really open to hearing what you have to say about this. How many of you have sons? Would you raise your hands? What I just went through is what I call the mantra, and your sweet daughter-in-law, who will be love itself, is going to say every one of the things that I just said to your boy, probably within the first year of the marriage. And he's just going to shut down. He's going to get angry, and he's going to go off by himself. Why? Because in the man's world, you don't badmouth your wife. Most guys, I got enough problems with myself. I don't need to hear yours. That's our goal. That's the rules. I don't do. Unless a guy's walked out on his 5 children and his wife for some blonde bimbo. That's when we'll talk about it. Hey, can you believe what Harry did? But up to that point, I have enough issues. So in we stay quiet. And you don't want to badmouth your wife anyway, because she's a good woman. He doesn't have a problem with the fact that you're not good. He has a problem with the fact that you think he's not good. And so your son will walk off by himself and your daughter-in-law will go on a talk show. Getting that social support. In the social media right now, it's just unbelievable. You got trolling women out there that are just men are always wrong, men are never right, women are always right, and women are never wrong. And so your daughter-in-law will go out there and they'll just say your son is an abuser. It's just it. You don't need to define abuse. He's toxic, you ought to divorce him. There it is. And we have almost 2 million following us on Facebook, 70% of which are women. There'll be women who just say, my husband and I got in a fight today. Can you give me some insight on it? And the women just pile on her. And we've had women just pull from the thread because they just get beat up by other women. Men are always evil. So this whole idea of male being toxic. And yet, look at if Al-Qaeda came in here, somebody opened up fire in here, every man would throw himself on the woman and take the bullet and die. Jesus Christ said, no greater love is a man than this, that he lay down his life for his friend. According to Jesus, your husband's very loving. But we all acknowledge, as men, we're not as sensitive as you, not as sentimental as you, we're not as loving as you. That's why we're under divine command. We don't do it by nature like you do. We struggle with it more. We salute you because you're wonderful. It's important for us to understand how Jesus Christ defines love. But one husband said to his wife, I love you so much, I would die for you. She said, oh, Harry, you keep saying that, but you never do. So what's going on with this? As Sarah and I, as I mentioned, we've been married since 1973. As I got into this, I began to realize this is very fascinating. That apparently Sarah has a need for my love. It's like she has this love tank connected by an air hose. And when I fail to be loving, I step on her air hose and she deflates. And I apparently have this need for respect for who I am apart from my performance. It's unconditional regard, unconditional positive regard toward my spirit as you're confronting issues that you find unloving or not respectable. This isn't rocket science. But we have this mindset that if I don't feel respect for you, I can show you contempt. I can be filled with disgust and disdain. The University of Washington studied 2,000 couples for 20 years, and they recognize when women are upset, the eyes darken, the face turns sour, hand on the hip, scolding finger, the rolling of the eyes, the head goes back, the sigh. And when estrogen kicks in, the word choice of contempt is incredible. It's called gestures of contempt. Now, you're doing that because you're trying to get him to understand that you're feeling unloved and insecure. And I'm going to help him decode your deepest heart. Because Paul said in 1 Corinthians 7:33 that a husband is concerned about how to please his wife and the wife is concerned about how to please her husband. Here's the deal. She's not trying to be disrespectful. She's usually reacting this way because she feels unloved. But if we misrepresent ourselves, we're going to be misinterpreted. It's as simple as that. But as I got into this, apparently I need to feel respected for who I am as a person. Because I know Sarah loves me, but I don't think she always likes me. She once chased me around the house with my love and respect book. What would you say to a husband who is treating his wife the way you're treating me right now? Don't write a marriage book, people. So the idea here is, in the book, I'll talk about what respect is. Most women say, I have no idea what you're talking about. I said, do you know what disrespect is? Women say, oh yeah, I got that down. But he should know I didn't mean it. That's exactly right, because you don't. You're trying to awaken him. And I'm going to tell you something. Your husband's not trying to be unloving. He didn't get up early this morning to storyboard ways to be unloving today. That's not his intent. His intent is he's concerned to please you. He doesn't want to be uncaring or displease you. But what we end up doing is reacting in ways that sends the message that seems to be the case. Because the way we as pink and blue react during heated fellowship isn't the way the other would react. So we tend to interpret that through our own pink and blue grid. because we wouldn't react that way. And we know we're right. And therefore my spouse is wrong. No, not wrong, just different. Unless it's an evil, unless your husband's saying, hey, I've been thinking about selling the kids for our cocaine habit. That's evil. That's immoral. That's illegal. That's, We're talking about clashing preferences in what I call the gray areas. And it's very important that the pink and blue differences in the gray areas do not escalate to black and white issues. But this is what happens. It's not a moral issue. Read Romans 14. There's so much stuff. This day is holy, that day eat meat. Now, there are a whole series of areas that God hasn't said, thus saith the Lord. This is absolutely how you... No, you've got the freedom. So he says, stop judging each other with contempt. So there's a whole lot of stuff that goes on every day in every marriage that's not an evil situation. We just have honest differences of opinion, but we don't know how to do this dance. So if I feel that I'm right, I say you're wrong. No, your idea is better, which makes their idea less better. It doesn't make their idea bad, it makes it less better. It's what we call a comparative statement, not a qualitative statement. It's very important that you not escalate that to a moral issue. But we do this because we want what we want, or we're fearful that if they make that decision, it's going to go against what's best, and we get all panicky, and then we escalate. Then we wonder why we have problems. It's not because the person's unteachable about the substance of the issue, it's our demeanor. We come across in a way that feels unloving to her and disrespectful to him. And what I discovered then is a correlation here. As I was meditating on this, it became very interesting. Sarah needs love, but it's within her nature to react disrespectfully. Otherwise, God wouldn't command her. It would be a moot command. Why would he command her to put on respect if she did that naturally? So it's within her nature to love. It's her need is to be loving, but it's within her nature to be disrespectful when she feels her need for love is not met. And furthermore, when she seeks to do the loving thing, but ends up coming across as disrespect. Talk to me right now. So again, we have this huge misunderstanding among people of goodwill. And apparently I have a need for respect, and God calls her to apparently come across to my heart, not my bad behavior. But here's the deal. It's within my nature apparently to be unloving when I feel disrespected. And this gave birth to what I call the crazy cycle. In 1998, 1999, all this stuff just came to me. Without love, she reacts without respect. Without respect, he reacts without love. Without love, she reacts without respect. Without respect, he reacts without love. Without love, she reacts without respect, without respect. And this baby starts to spin, and it gets crazy, and I call it the crazy cycle. And when the issue on the table, it could be talking about money, could be talking about sex, could talk in-laws, should we move from Houston to Michigan, should we move from Michigan to Houston, whatever these gray area issues are that are important, they're real issues, but at this point you see the spirit of your spouse deflate, you've entered the crazy cycle, and in most cases, she's feeling unloved, he's feeling disrespected. Now we've asked 7,000 people this question. When you're in a conflict with your spouse, do you feel unloved or disrespected at that moment? We've done this again and again and again. The reliability of this question is in. 83% of the men say they feel disrespected. 72% of the women say they feel unloved. Now, I want you to think academically, bell curve here. There are exceptions to everything we're saying. Because the first thing some of you are sitting on as women, because you've been conditioned through academia, is we women need respect. You've been sitting there with that the whole time, haven't you? You just have been conditioned. We need respect. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Here's the deal. Yes, women need R-E-S-P-E-C-T. And I talk a great deal about it. Peter says in 1 Corinthians 7, honor your wives. In the 6th chapter, C-O-U-P-L-E, the E of couple is esteem, honor, respect. Women need it. And here's the deal. If you keep showing disrespect to your wife who needs respect, she'll eventually say, how can you say you love me and be so disrespectful toward me? She'll land on love. You keep showing your husband disrespect, you'll say, everybody respects me and you. I'm sick and tired of this disrespect. Why doesn't he land on love? Because he knows you love him. Unless you've said, I don't love you. But what I saw then is this crazy cycle, and we get on that, and there is this moment where we've all got to come to a place where we ask ourselves, is my wife really trying to diss me? Is that really her mission, or is she a good-willed woman who's reacting because I said or did something earlier that felt unloving to her? And is my husband really trying to be unloving when he would die for me if I don't kill him first? Is he really unloving, or did I say or do something earlier that was disrespectful? The University of Washington studied those 2,000 couples for 20 years, and when men are in a conflict, 85% of them, 85, think bell curve, 15% don't, my mother withdrew, but 85% of the men withdraw and stonewall. But they were monitoring the heartbeats. And men, during conflicted moments maritally, their heartbeats get to 99 beats per minute. He looks stoic, but his heartbeats are in warrior mode. The woman looks like she's a flamethrower. She's out of control. Her heartbeats are normal. If the husband just says, I'm sorry, and humiliate, I'm sorry, I'm wrong, will you forgive me? She'll go, well, I'm wrong too. I was bad. I shouldn't have really said what I did. I'm sorry too. Will you forgive? Immediate, axiomatic, kicking into the I'm sorry as well. She doesn't want to control you. She's trying to connect. And once there's this apology, heartfelt, she will immediately be there because that's her goal. That's why she's not out of control. She looks like it. That's why you say, I'm sorry. She'll immediately stop. But he can't immediately stop because his heartbeats are at 99 beats per minute. He's felt dishonored and he has to calm down. So he walks away out of honor. Because that's what we do as men. Our best buddies, we get in heated moments. We can get volatile. So we have to protect the relationship. The relationship is more important than the issue on the table. So then we exit because it's honorable. But in the world of intimacy, it's called unloving and abusive. Your son will be called abusive as he walks away to calm down. And he'll be completely blown away by this. So here you have this dynamic. So what do we have to do? We have to decode. We have to decode. And this is from Stephen Covey, who, and what I mean decode, that your wife's not trying to be disrespectful. She's saying, I have a need that only you can meet. And it's not a complaint that she's extending to you. It's a compliment. She needs your strength. The question is, are you willing to... See, I know no one talks to you in this disrespectful way, so it's so easy for you to take up offense against her. But she's not trying to be... That's not her mission. Her mission is, I need you, I need you, I need you, I need your strength. She's panicking. And the question is, are you willing to give her the benefit of the doubt or just resent her on this face value issue, which isn't even substantive? Now, if there was another man in your world talking to you that way, exactly. But she's not a man. She's pink. And I hope that your son-in-law doesn't treat your daughter, that little 5-year-old girl that you used to have on your shoulder, she's now 25, and he's going to take up offense at her when she's coming at him. Why? Because he matters to her. And so what does he do? He resents her. He doesn't decode. And here you have an honorable man who would literally die for you, but he's got to calm down, and you continue to chase him. And you escalate to contempt rather than saying, hey, can you calm down for 15 minutes and then can we talk about this issue for 15, not for 16 or 17, but 15, and not for 15 hours, but 15 minutes? There are rules of engagement that I talk about in my Love and Respect book. There are ways you can move through this. But if we don't have this common understanding of each other, if we're filtering what we think the other person means by what they say or what they mean by what they do, and we're dead wrong, we're going to be on the crazy cycle for 38 years. And what happens when you feel unloved, you react in a way that feels disrespectful. And when you feel disrespected, you react in a way that feels unloving. And you're taking up offense. Instead of decoding that her deeper cry is for love, that his deeper cry is, do you respect who I am apart from my performance? I know you love me, but I don't think you can stand who I am as a human being, created in the image of God. What we do is, I'll be unloving to motivate you to be respectful. I'll be disrespectful to motivate you to be loving. But you can't use unholy means to achieve worldly ends. But here's the deal. You can't be disrespectful to motivate love, and you can't be unloving to motivate respect. Because without love, defensively, she reacts offensively without respect. Without respect, defensively, he reacts offensively without love. And we live our whole life defensively reacting, but we're offending in the process and we don't see it. Because we look through blue and we look through pink. We don't put on the other sunglasses. So it raises this question. How do we really get off that crazy cycle?